is amazing.
Thank you. Oh, you mean the color one?
Yeah.
That's it's the logo for Transform Your Life and Energy Medicine Partnerships. That's what that stands for.
Wow.
When you type those words in the computer, that's the mandala that comes out from those words.
Holy cow.
Yes. All right, we're actually live now, Dr. Paul. We're
Uh,
connecting from North Carolina in Durham, and this is Dr. Mary Jo Bolbrook connecting with Dr. Paul Alfalla in Lima, Peru. So I'm very, very pleased to have this opportunity to talk with you about a variety of topics. And what I'd like to start with first is your journey adding your energy medicine to your work as a chiropractor. What some of those things, anything you want to say about that story that might encourage and inspire other chiropractors to take a look at that as well?
well, that's a good question. And, the first thing that comes to mind when you say that is, when we study chiropractic, there are, as far as I know, at least when I was studying, there are no courses about the energetics of the human body, the human frame. We did not, there is no teaching on that whatsoever. And so one of the greatest things, when you came down here and you opened up the opportunity and you opened up the doorways for me to learn about energy medicines and to take a look at the human body energetically, was a tremendous help for me. And I will tell you, number one, because at a certain point in time, I was adjusting so many people. And as a chiropractor, we talk about health, we give health talks, but at the same time, I seemed to always be getting sick. And I couldn't figure out why. I mean, my diet was good. I was going to the gym. I'm getting adjusted. I'm doing all the things that most chiropractors uh, do. But I didn't take a look at the energetics of anything, really. I didn't know about it. And so once I met you and I discovered, wow, I'm in contact with so many people energetically, and there's a transfer there, there's a connection there. I said to myself, well, yeah, this could be what's affecting me, and not only myself, but I mean, so many other chiropractors who just don't realize what's happening because we're not taught that at all. And then once I learned about the energetics and how to clear myself and then how to connect with other people on another level, I felt better, patients felt better. So it was just another huge key for me to help people. And so, and I get it all the time, I touch people and so many patients say to me, hey man, what are you doing? I don't know what you got in your hands, but it feels really good when you touch me, you know? And that's just the energy of stuff that we start to, we start moving energy, and I do it all the time on a very kind of, light way just to get people going, and they love it without even knowing. I don't tell them about it. I just connect, and so that's the first thing that pops in my mind as far as learning about the energy of the body, learning how it could affect you, your health, your patient's health. I think so. Any chiropractor would be just to take a basic course on energy medicine would be so beneficial in so many ways.
Your education was to become a chiropractor was predominantly, or I think exclusively in the United States. Is that correct?
Well, there's schools all over the world now, but I studied in Georgia, sure. That's right, in Life University. That's
Right. And then you got to Peru and have been practicing as a chiropractor there for how many years?
over 15 years now. Just over, I think 16 years.
Great. But you are an American living in Peru.
Right, born in Brooklyn, raised on Long Island, and now for the past 16 years living in Peru, South America, which has been a real joy.
Well, I know from our experience, I was invited to come to Peru to teach through Stella Morris Hospital was our first invitation, and we had a large group. We had about 100 people for that first course. I'm not sure it was that first time I came to Peru or later on that we met. I think it must have been later on after they had started working with this program, if I'm not mistaken, because I'll never forget the first time you came to class. We had a pretty large class at that time as well, about 50 students at, I'm not sure the name of the location.
There was 60 people in that class.
Okay, and it was taught in Spanish. Somebody else was teaching Spanish. I taught it in English, and it was translated. And I remember very quickly you picked up being able to connect to the energy, which was a new piece of information to you. That wasn't part of your experience, where some people who come into those classes do have a background in energy work. But this, you were the new kid on the block, but you learned very, very quickly, and it became something you were interested in and then started working with it. Is that correct?
Well, let's just say I was the new kid on the block, and I had no idea what was going to happen. I mean, I was just taking the class like everybody else, you know, put your hands here, put your hands there, we're going to balance the energy this way. So I was just going along with the instructions of the class, and then I totally tapped into the energy field of this person, and things started happening to me that kind of blew me away. And so you could say, yes, I was very interested and I wanted to know more. And then, that's when we had our first conversation, remember?
Yes.
Well, this is kind of what's happening for me. and that's when, my whole path started, because I said, wow, I had no idea about all this stuff happening. And it must be happening for a reason. As a chiropractor, as a healer, you just want to help people. And I said, wow, okay, so this must be for a bigger reason. I didn't understand it at the time at all, but I was excited to be a part of it.
Well, that's one of the reasons that I wanted to mention is that this work is something that people are called to do, sometimes out of awareness. I believe it was a couple of your patients you had told me who mentioned to you that I was coming into town and that you might enjoy finding out about this energy work. And that's an example of how people are called to this work. It's through somebody who has a good experience and they tell someone else, and then it's history from there. And that's kind of how things evolve for us.
That's exactly how it was. I mean, I know exactly who it was. I know where it was. She said to me, "Hey, Doc, there's a woman coming from the States. She speaks English, and she's going to be doing an energy seminar. And you're a doctor. You work with your hands. You're a healer. You should go and check it out." And I said, "Okay, I will." And that was it.
Right, and one of the reasons why I wanted to share that background is as we're beginning to connect with the different chiropractors, both in this country and in Peru, because Paul and I are going to be teaming up and starting to introduce some courses that are specifically geared to support them in their journey. And so I wanted folks to know that that's really how it gets started. It's somebody's exposed to it, and it piques their interest. There's an affinity for doing the work, and then you begin to study and build what it's going to look like for you. And this is where it comes to, I had wanted for you to talk about your specialty in which you have combined energy medicine with chiropractic, But then you also have studied some other things that are of interest to you, some of which are native to the country you live in the people who you've been exposed to. So this is an example of how people move into developing a specialist in this field.
Well, that's exactly how it started for me. Everything, energy medicine, shamanism, whether it be Andean shamanism or Amazonian shamanism, everything, or African shamanism, is the whole purpose and point and understanding of shamanism is so totally and completely in alignment with my chiropractic philosophy that it just, everything made sense to me. It was just a huge click, because in chiropractic, we talk about universal principles, we talk about universal laws. We do not treat symptoms or diseases. We do not treat, the little things. We look at the person. It's a holistic point of view and a holistic way of helping people become the best that they can be. And so everything just started clicking together, and it made sense to me in such a way. And I love connecting with nature. After now 16 years, I can tell you that one of the main reasons why people are sick is because we've lost our connection with Mother Earth, our connection with nature. The whole cement jungle theory and the way people talk about the cement jungle is true. There's been such a disconnect. So that's number one. And number two, connecting with African shamanism, the other thing that we've all lost contact with is where we come from, our ancestral connections. I think there was a study done, and if we talk about the United States, all of the other cultures, when they kind of look at the United States or North America, one of the big, the big gaps or the thing that's absent is that we don't connect with our ancestors. There is no, that, where we come from, and that lineage is kind of like not there. I mean, you go to the Orient, everybody respects their elders, and not only that, but the people who have gone before them. There's a teaching, there's an understanding, there's a knowingness, and that's so important for our health and well-being and our evolution, I believe, for health and healing and the whole human race, and so I was able to get all that in Peru in many different ways. It's not even, it's funny, but it's not fun. I mean, it's just been a great experience. And I have to laugh because I'm here in Peru, but then I met you here in Peru. and all my teachings have come from people outside of Peru, but I don't think it would have happened if I wasn't here.
Well, that's a good example of, and I find in my own life, I moved around, not necessarily by intention, but different things happen where I moved from first Ohio, then to Texas, then to Utah, Newfoundland, back to the United States, to Canada, or in Newfoundland, Canada, back to the United States, then to Australia and back here. And one of the things I felt I was being changed by the environments that I was in, and that I needed to know and understand the culture of different orientations and broaden my worldview. Because even though I have a doctorate degree in college teaching and had been exposed to a number of scholars in a variety of fields, it was like until you walk among the people and live with them or find out their points of view, it's from an outsider's point of view, and I needed to understand from an insider's point of view. And I think that I was led to do what I did out of awareness, and I think you were led to do what you're doing out of awareness, but it's following a spiritual path. And that doesn't mean that our life is predestined. We don't have choice. Certainly we have choices. but they're also things that help shape our life and give us additional tools to do what we do. And I've experienced chiropractic from you and then watched as you began to integrate the energy medicine techniques and be guided to your own unique style of working with the energy. It's not like my background is as a nurse and I apply it to the situations where I come in contact with clients and patients in a nursing practice, and that certainly is different from what you come in contact with as a chiropractor. So you would be invited to share your gifts in a unique way that complement, one, who you are, what your life experiences are, and the environment where you live and work.
Yeah, so true. And just one of the other things I want to say, really, I've been fortunate enough, to meet a lot of people. I've met very humble people who, have no money, but they're just beautiful, loving, open healers. And I've had the opportunity to meet two gurus, I mean, I'm talking about these people that come from India, and, it's kind of hard to get close to those people sometimes, but I've had the opportunity to be up close, speak to those type of people, and I've met different types of shamans, and I will say this for all chiropractors, everybody wants to get adjusted. I mean, so the chiropractic, for me as my basis it's such a strong foundation. It just goes so well with everything. I mean, you get chiropractic adjustment, you get energetic alignment, spiritual healing, plant medicines. I mean, it is such a package. But everybody wants to get adjusted. Wherever I go, if I'm doing something, they find out I'm a chiropractor. Can you check me? Can you adjust me? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's really, like you said, my path, my evolution. I was kind of just little by little building it up, and now it's like it's starting, after about 15 years, starting to kind of like come together, as a full package to really serve people.
Right. Well, that's cool. And later on, we're going to explore some of the in-depth work that you do, including some topics that may really be new from a traditional point of view, but for those of us who are advanced in the work and in the field, they're critical elements that we need to explore as well. So it's like observing rocket science and being in the middle of rocket science. Both of them are what is out there for us. And this is a reason why we had this Congress in North Carolina this past May 2014. The goal was to bring healers from different traditions in different parts of the world. Some of them were here in person, others we are connected via the internet, and that's partly because we want to teach people how to work with the tools of education, learning, and connection. And the internet is a vehicle that now serves to educate and link people throughout the world. And learning how to master that medium raises all kinds of new questions around delivering care and what the possibilities are in connecting with people with different points of view, and teaching them ways of how to manage their health and their healing. So this is part of the reason why we're engaged through this medium, as it is a force, and definitely the young people, the teenagers, the 20-year-old and 30-year-olds are active, very involved in this work, and they can benefit. That's one of the ways we reach them. If we're not knowledgeable about the tools of the trade and what is out there, we're missing one of the good resources to support people in their healing. So it is changing practice, shall I say. It's adding to practice. it's new ways of connecting and inspiring people that they need to find ways to be accountable for their own health journey.
So true, so true. The internet, I always say, okay, how can I reach more people? How can I adjust more people? How can I see more people? And then I said, well, if I could just be in everybody's house, and then okay, so let me just do something on internet. That's the way to go. Everybody's doing it. My daughter's 9 years old. She's on the internet, for crying out loud. So, however I can help, however we can, the things that we're going to talk about, and we're going to get together, and we're going to share for newbies and for advanced people. It's just a great way to get it going.
Well, I'll ask you a technical question. I remember, Paul, when I was in your office and I was guided to work directly with you, and I suggested, well, do an adjustment like you normally do it, and then take time to enter into the energy in a new way and be taught by the energy. And I don't know if you remember that contact and would like to say anything about that.
Woo! Well, that was just the beginning of me just connecting with people in a totally different way. In other words, since I started learning about, energy healing, energy medicine, and then started to connect with people, that's how it started, make a contact and kind of, what do you feel, what are you getting, what's the energy doing, so at that time I really didn't have much to offer, but now it's a different story. As as a chiropractor, I could tell you one of the things that happens that you touch so many people, and you get your energy becomes activated, and whatever gift that you bring, whether if you're a seer or if you're just a feeler, or you hear things, or whatever extraordinary sense that you have or gift that you have, the more you touch, the more it becomes activated. And so as I started with you, that's what happened. I just became very sensitive to the entire energetic field of the person. And, can feel things, can sense things, can kind of, my intuition kind of started to increase, and I would understand what's really going on with the person. Because most people come in because they feel pain, and because we've been programmed and conditioned to think when the pain goes away we're healthy, most people are conditioned to ask, get rid of my pain, doc. That's what, And then, when you start connecting with people in an energetic way, it kind of just opens the doorway, and you can kind of sense, okay, well, tell me what's going on with your life. How's your husband? Oh, what are you asking me about that for? I don't want to talk about my husband, And then you start getting to the real emotional blockage, the real, you start getting to the seed, the issue that most people are running away from, the fear that most people don't want to face. And that's what causes the blockage, and then the whole vicious cycle of what, pain, sickness, suffering, and all that. So that's just kind of like the tip of the iceberg.
Is there any, we'll just spend a couple more minutes with this topic. Is there any tidbit you want to pass on to chiropractors from based on your experience? Any advice you want to give them?
Oh, sure. The first tip is be aware. Be aware of the energetics of your energy. How are you doing energetically? When do you feel good? What part of the day? Because everybody's different. Some people have a ton of energy in the morning, and then they start, in the afternoon they need to rest. And then at nighttime, some chiropractors don't really have a lot of energy. So be aware of your energy. That's the first thing. The other thing is, when I say be aware of your energy, I'm really saying take time to be a little selfish, but in an enlightened way. In other words, take time to discover really what your energetics are about, what's going on in your life, because it's all about you and being the best you can be in order to serve other people. Um, so be aware of your energetics, be aware of the food and the things that you're eating in order to maintain your energy. So that's one. And two, be aware of the energetics of the people you serve. Because once there is an awareness, you will, I can guarantee you already have sensed it. Now it's just, be aware of what's, going on. Do you feel good when you're around this person? What's happening? That's going to help you. And then once you're aware, just kind of take time to clear your energies as well, especially when you finish the day, so that you don't bring home all that stuff and then, go hug your kids and your wife and your dog or whatever it is. Take some time to connect with yourself and just kind of do a little cleansing, a little clear. There's many ways to do that energetically, and I'm sure we'll go over that, right?
Right.
That's one of the things right off the bat.
Great. Well, I think we're going to stop at this point now, Paul, and then when we resume back, I'm going to ask you some specific questions about other topics. And do you want to give a email that people can contact you by?
Sure, you can connect with me at dcpaul008@gmail.com.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule.
No, thank you. Thank you.
To reach this population and bring forward your experience and knowledge in combining energy medicine and chiropractic care. So, thank you. And
thank you for the opportunity to be able to share. Really, it feels good. Thank you.
Okay, signing off for now.